What do you believe about yourself? So let me say it again. What do you believe about yourself? Yell something out. Resilient? Integrity? Creative. Okay, wonderful. Do you really believe that you can achieve anything you decide to do? Yes. Okay. How many of you feel that you can do anything you decide to do? Show of hands. Okay, great. So that's probably half the people. It's pretty easy to say yes when you're sitting here in this room, yet often once we start doing the impossible, doubt and fear start to creep in. Yet, look at all that you've achieved once you've fought through the doubt and fear. Amazing things have happened. This is a subject that Rachel Stewart has been focused on since early childhood. As a matter of fact, she's recently written a book, and so this is the book, Unqualified Success. Bridging the gap between where you are now and where you want to be to achieve massive success. There's a copy in the bookcase back there for you. So Rachel wears many hats: wife, mother of four, general manager of Titan Restoration, a founder and CEO of a software company, and now an author. Rachel has seen firsthand how a person's mindset and self-beliefs are the key factors to massive success. Her title is How to Be an Unqualified Success. Please help me welcome Rachel Stewart. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so what if I told you that there was one secret that you could teach your teams that would dramatically increase the level of success that you guys were able to achieve? All right? What if I told you that this one secret took a carpet cleaner and turned him into one of the most influential and well-connected people on the planet? What if I told you that this same secret took somebody who was so shy that they couldn't lead their Sunday school class in silent prayer and turned them into a Hall of Fame speaker who coached all of the best public speakers around? What if I told you this same secret took somebody who had failed at almost anything they had ever touched, and now they had a company on the verge of being worth $1 billion? What if I told you that this one secret took somebody who was illiterate, involved in gangs, spent years in prison, many of those in solitary confinement, and turned them into one of the most motivating and inspiring individuals? What if I told you that this one secret could take somebody who had just received a hip transplant and turn them into an Iron Man hero that could make impossible dreams come true? So what is the secret that all of these people know? Qualifications mean nothing. So let me say that again. Qualifications mean nothing. So am I saying that a doctor doesn't need to go to medical school, or an attorney doesn't need to go to law school, or that you haven't spent years perfecting your craft? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that nobody came from the womb highly qualified to do the work they're doing in the world. And those who have found success have mastered certain characteristics and traits to make them successful, stuff like this. But since we only have 10 minutes, we're going to focus on 2 of those because I think that they will give you the most return in your business and give you the 10x that you are here for. So mindset and belief. So let me start by asking a question. Why are you here? Why are you a part of Genius Network? And maybe you're here because you struggle with marketing and you figure if you can get involved in a group that has marketing gurus, then you might learn something. Maybe you're here because you don't see yourself as a salesperson, but you know that that's what you're going to need to do to take your business to the next level. Maybe you're here because you have a vision of a future reality, but don't know how to actually make that reality come true. Or maybe you see that vision, but you're surrounded by teams that are kind of stuck in the status quo and are resistant to change, and you're struggling up that uphill battle. But whatever obstacle, limitation, or boundary that is focused around that is centered around your belief. So it's centered around what you're telling yourself, what your teams are telling themselves, and maybe even what you're telling yourself about what your teams are telling themselves. And I want to submit that if you aren't getting the level of success that you want, that what you're telling yourself is a lie. And even when it's true, it's a lie. So you might be wondering, how can something be true and a lie at the same time. So I'm going to illustrate with a story. So I want you to imagine that you grew up in a broken home and that you were exposed to alcohol and addiction. And I want you to imagine by the age of 13 you were in the foster care system. By the age of 15 you had run away from your latest group home and you had dropped out of school. Imagine that you were surviving the only way that you knew how, in very degrading ways on the street. Imagine by the time you were 21, you were signing the rights of your drug-addicted baby over to his drug-dealing father. And imagine by the time you were 26, you just found out that you were once again pregnant, and that baby that you had given rights away to was now 4 years old, and was in the foster care system because his dad had left him shoeless, cigarette burned, and neglected with a complete stranger in a homeless shelter. So pretty bleak situation, right? Okay, that's not my story, that's the story of my good friend, Christina. So I want you to come with me now as I enter the story. So come with me as we volunteer for an organization called CASA, which stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocate. So our job as a CASA is going to be to advocate for the best interest of, in this case, this 4-year-old little boy that is now in foster care. So we need to make sure that he doesn't get lost in the system, and we give recommendations to the judge and the court system on how this case should proceed. So we dig in and we spend the next several months learning everything that we can about the case, and we read reports, and we spend time with the foster family, and we spend time with this beautiful little boy, and we spend time observing his behavior before and after visitations, and with his recovering mother, who's now checked herself into rehab. And then we have to make some hard decisions. And we have to say, this is how we think the case should go and the direction that we. So can you feel the weight of that? Can you feel you're trying to make the best of some bad choices? So I don't have time to go into all of the details, but let me just say that the next choice we make is awesome. And we decide to invest in the recovering mother. And Christina needs somebody who believes in her, that believes that she has everything in her that can make her a powerful mother. She needs to believe that she has that skill inside of her, and there's nobody on the planet that can do this job better than her. And we tell her that over and over and over until she starts believing it. And as she starts to believe that idea, the fire that takes place is amazing, and she starts seeing some dramatic results. So now sit with this for a minute. How do you feel as you see Christina change her life in miraculous ways? And what happens over the next couple of years is astounding. She fought for herself, she fought for her recovery, she fought for sole custody of her boys, she got her GED, she got a job and is working her way through college. You should have seen how proud she was the day that she passed the college entrance exam. She bought herself a car. And most of all, she's mothering those boys beautifully. So what I am telling you, again, is that qualifications mean nothing. There was not a more unqualified person on the planet to be a mother than Christina. She had not seen it modeled. She did not know how to discipline. She didn't know how to nurture. She didn't know how to love those boys. She'd never held a job. She didn't even have a high school education. She had a serious felony. She'd probably never even eaten a balanced meal, let alone prepared for one. And the one thing that made all the difference was her mindset and her belief. Once she got hold of that idea, yes, she had to do a ton of other work that is involved in being an unqualified success. She had to face her fears. She had to deal with failure, be persistent, all of those things. But the thing that made those things possible was her belief and her mindset. So if Christina can do that, then what could you and your teams do? I mean, like the mountain that you're trying to climb seems like small potatoes, right? Like, what could you guys really achieve if you could change just one belief and one mindset? And could that turn into a $250,000 idea? So I don't want to suggest that it's easy. There's steps, there's tools that you can use to work on that with your teams, but I want to challenge you that if you spend that time, like what could you do if you believed, like really believed that you were awesome at marketing? Like you're like, I'm Amanda, man, I can eat this thing for lunch, you know? What could you believe if you thought you were awesome at sales? So identify what current unqualification is holding you back that's preventing you from taking flight. And I just want to sum it up with this. This is a quote by Philip Brooks, who's a famous author. Pray not for goals equal to your powers. Rather pray for powers equal to your goals. Then the doing of your work will be no miracle. You, like Christina, will be the miracle.